Let me share something that might shake you to your core. Right now, in this very moment, you're living in a house built by your words. Every belief you hold about yourself, every limitation you accept as truth, every ceiling you've placed over your potential, all of these were constructed brick by the words you've been speaking to yourself. The good news, what words have built, words can transform. In the next few moments, I'm going to show you exactly how this transformation happens and why 3 days is all you need to set this profound change in motion. I've seen people completely revolutionize their lives using these principles, people who were trapped in cycles of negative thinking for decades, breaking free in just 3 days, people who had convinced themselves they were too old, not talented enough, or not worth, suddenly accessing reserves of power they never knew they possessed. But here's what's crucial to understand. This isn't about positive thinking. This isn't about affirmations you repeat mindlessly while your inner voice scoffs in disbelief. This is about something far more fundamental. It's about aligning your self-talk with the deepest truths of who you are, who you were meant to be. Every person who's ever achieved something remarkable started with a different kind of conversation with themselves. Think about that for a moment. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of transcendence began with someone telling themselves a new story about what was possible. The first key to transforming your self-talk is understanding that every word you speak to yourself is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This is, you wouldn't plant weeds in a garden and expect to grow roses. You cannot fill your inner dialogue with doubt, fear, and limitation and expect to harvest confidence, courage, and unlimited potential. Here's what happens in your brain when you engage in negative self-talk. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for emotional responses, becomes hyperactive. Stress hormones flood your system. Your creative center shut down. Your ability to see possibilities diminishes. You literally create a biochemical environment that makes it impossible to access your highest potential. But when you shift your self-talk, when you begin speaking to yourself with the respect, compassion, and unwavering belief that you'd offer to someone you deeply love, something remarkable happens. Your brain's chemistry changes. Neural pathways begin to reorganize. The very structure of your brain begins to transform. Day one of your 3-day transformation is about becoming aware of the constant stream of commentary running through your mind. Most people never stop to really listen to how they speak to themselves. They've lived with their inner critic for so long that his voice has become like background noise, constant, unquestioned. I want you to try something right now. Close your eyes for a moment and just listen to the thoughts passing through your mind. Listen without judgment, without trying to change anything. Just observe. What kind of conversation are you having with yourself? What tone does your inner voice use? What word? For many of you, this simple exercise might be revelatory. You might be shocked to discover just how harsh, how critical, how limiting your self-talk has become. You might realize that you would never dream of speaking to anyone else the way you routinely speak to yourself. This awareness is the first crack in the foundation of limiting beliefs that have held you back. Because once you become aware of your self-talk patterns, you can begin to change them, and this is where the real magic begins. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It accepts whatever you tell it as absolute truth, and then goes to work creating evidence to support that truth in your external reality. When you tell yourself, "I can't," your subconscious mind says, "Your wish is my command," and proceeds to create circumstances that prove you right. When you tell yourself this is impossible, your subconscious mind doesn't argue. It simply makes sure that statement becomes your reality. The same principle works just as powerfully in the positive direction. When you tell yourself, when you speak to yourself with unwavering belief in your capabilities, your subconscious mind goes to work creating circumstances that support that new truth. This isn't magical thinking. This is the science of how your brain works. This is the technology of transformation that's been available to you all along, waiting to be activated by the right words, spoken with conviction. The first day of your transformation is about becoming the observer of your thoughts. It's about creating space between who you are and the thoughts you think, because you are not your thoughts. You are the one who can choose which thoughts to believe, which thoughts to nurture, and which thoughts to let go. Start paying attention to the phrases you use most often. What do you say to yourself when you face a challenge? What words come up when you look in the mirror? What's your automatic response when someone pays you a compliment? These patterns of self-talk have created your current reality. But remember, these patterns are not you. They're habits of thought, nothing more, and like any habit, they can be changed. They must be changed if you want to step into the fullness of your potential. As we move through this first part of our journey together, I want you to begin treating your self-talk with the same importance you'd give to a conversation with the person you love most in the world. Because in truth, that's exactly what it is. It's a conversation with your own magnificent spirit, your own unlimited potential. Your assignment for the next few hours is simple but profound. Become the witness of your inner dialogue. Don't try to change anything yet. Don't judge what you observe. Just watch. Listen. Notice. Become aware of the running commentary that's been shaping your life. Pay particular attention to the moments when your self-talk becomes most negative. Is it in social situations, when you're facing a new challenge, when you're comparing yourself to others? These are your growth points. These are the moments where transformation will begin. Remember, awareness is always the first step in transformation. You cannot change what you cannot see. You cannot transform what you cannot acknowledge. This first day is about bringing light to the shadows, about making the unconscious conscious. As you move through these next few hours, I want you to carry this truth with you. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. What you need is to align your self-talk with the truth of who you really are. Because who you really are is far more magnificent, far more capable, far more powerful than any limiting story you've been telling yourself. The words you speak to yourself are like hands molding clay. They shape your experience, your perceptions, your reality. And starting today, you're taking conscious control of those words. You're becoming the intentional sculptor of your own. Take this time to truly understand the power you hold. Every word you speak to yourself is either lifting you higher or holding you back. There's no neutral self-talk. You're either growing or contracting, expanding or diminishing with every internal conversation. As we close this first section of our journey together, I want you to hold on to this truth. The most important conversation you will ever have is the one you're having with yourself right now. Then starting today, that conversation is about to change in ways that will now that you spend time observing your inner dialogue, you're ready for the next phase of this transformative journey. This is where we begin the actual rewiring of your mental patterns, where we start consciously crafting the self-talk that will create your new reality. This powerful realization you can have is your self-talk isn't just a reflection of your reality. It's the creator of it. Every word you speak to yourself is like a brush stroke on the canvas of your life. And starting right now, you're going to learn how to paint masterpieces. Let me share something profound with you. And then the human brain processes negative self-talk in the same region it processes physical pain. When you tell yourself you're not good enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough, your brain responds as if you're experiencing actual physical harm. This is why negative self-talk feels so painful, so draining, so debilitating. But here's the miracle. The same neural mechanism works in reverse. When you speak to yourself with kindness, with belief, with unwavering faith in your capabilities, your brain releases a cascade of beneficial neurochemicals. You literally create an internal environment conducive to growth, healing, and transformation. Second day of your transformation is about implementing 3 crucial practices that will revolutionize your self-talk. I call these the 3 pillars of transformative self-dialogue. The first pillar is what I call the power of present truth. This means speaking to yourself not in terms of what you want to become, but in terms of what you already are at your core. Instead of saying, I want to be confident, you acknowledge I am confidence expressing itself through this body. Instead of saying, I hope to be successful, you declare, I am success in action. This isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about acknowledging a deeper truth. That within you right now exists every quality you desire to express. You're not creating something new. You're allowing what's already there to emerge. Think about a master sculptor working with marble. They don't add anything to the stone. They simply remove what's covering the masterpiece within. Your transformative self-talk works the same way. You're not adding confidence, courage, or capability. You're removing the layers of limiting beliefs that have been hiding these qualities. The second pillar is conscious question crafting. The questions you ask yourself are perhaps the most powerful form of self-talk there is. Your brain is like a search engine. It will find answers to whatever questions you ask. Ask yourself, why do I always fail? And your brain will diligently gather evidence of every failure you've ever experienced. Ask yourself, how am I growing stronger every day? And your brain will show you evidence of your constant evolution. Starting right now, I want you to begin asking yourself empowering questions. Instead of what if I fail, ask how can I succeed? Instead of why is this happening to me, ask what is this situation teaching me? Instead of what's wrong with me. Ask what strengths can I bring to this situation. The third pillar is what I call emotional alignment. This is where most attempts at changing self-talk fall short. It's not enough to simply change the words. You must change the emotional energy behind them. Your subconscious mind responds not just to your words, but to the feeling tone behind those words. When you speak to yourself, infuse your words with the emotions you want to experience. Feel the confidence as you declare, I am capable. Experience the joy as you acknowledge, I am worthy of all good things. Let the gratitude fill your heart as you state, I am blessed with unlimited potential. There's a powerful practice I want you to implement right now. Choose 3 statements that represent your highest truth. These aren't affirmations. They're declarations of your essential nature. Write them down, but don't just write the words. Write down how it feels to embody these truths. For example, if your statement is, I am unlimited potential in action, write down how it feels to live from that truth. What emotions arise? What sensations do you notice in your body? This alignment of words and emotions is where real transformation happens. Throughout this second day, you're going to practice speaking to yourself as if you were speaking to someone you deeply love and respect, because in truth you're speaking to the highest version of yourself, the self that knows no limitations, the self that is pure potential. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, and you will, this is part of the process. Don't judge yourself. Instead, simply ask, is this how I would speak to someone I love? If the answer is no, pause, take a breath, and choose again. Choose words that honor your true nature. Remember, this isn't about suppressing negative thoughts or forcing yourself to think positive. It's about aligning your self-talk with truth. And the truth is you are far more capable, far more resilient, and far more powerful than any limiting story you've been telling yourself. As you move through this day, pay attention to the moments when your new self-talk feels challenging. These are the places where your old beliefs are strongest. These are your opportunities for the deepest transformation. Don't avoid these moments. Lean into them. They're showing you exactly very powerful truths. Every time you choose empowering self-talk over limiting self-talk, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that will make it easier and more natural to think in empowering ways. Your brain doesn't care whether what you're telling it is real or not. It simply responds to the instructions you give it through your self-talk. When you consistently speak to yourself in ways that affirm your power, your worth, your unlimited potential, your brain accepts these as instructions and begins creating evidence to support these new beliefs. This is why the practice of conscious self-talk is so powerful. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing the very architecture of your brain. You're creating new neural networks that support your highest vision of yourself. As we move through this second phase of transformation, I want you to remember this. Every word you speak to yourself is either an investment in your growth or a withdrawal from your potential. There is no neutral self-talk. You're either building yourself up or tearing yourself down with every internal conversation. You start treating your self-talk as if it were the most important conversation you'll ever have, because it is. It's the conversation that shapes your reality, that determines what you'll attempt, what you'll achieve, who you'll become. When you face challenges, and you will speak to yourself as a wise and loving mentor would speak to their most promising student. When you encounter setbacks, and you will speak to yourself as a compassionate friend would speak to someone they deeply believe in. Your assignment for these next hours is to consciously craft your self-talk using the 3 pillars. Practice, present, truth statements. Ask empowering questions. Align your emotions with your words. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Each time you catch yourself in limiting self-talk, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what's the highest truth I can speak in this moment? Then speak that truth, feel that truth. This is how transformation happens, one conscious choice at a time, one aligned word at a time. As we close the second phase of our journey together, hold this truth in your heart. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past self-talk. You are the one who can choose in each moment the words that will shape your reality. And starting right now, you're choosing words that align with your highest potential. You've now spent time becoming aware of your self-talk patterns and learning the 3 pillars of transformative self-dialogue. As we move into this third phase of our journey together, we're going to explore something even more profound. The art of accessing and speaking from your highest self is a truth that might shake your world. Inside you exist 2 distinct voices. The first is the voice of your conditioned self, the self that was shaped by past experiences, limiting beliefs, and the opinions of others. The second is the voice of your essential self, your highest self, the part of you that knows no limitations, that sees only possibility. Most people live their entire lives listening only to the first voice, never realizing that they have access to a deeper wisdom, a higher truth. But starting today, you're going to learn how to access and speak from this higher self consistently. Think about water for a moment. When water is murky, it's not because there's something wrong with the water. It's simply because it's been stirred up. When you allow it to be still, its natural clarity emerges. Your mind works the same way. When you allow the turbulence of negative self-talk to settle, your natural wisdom, your innate clarity naturally emerges. This is where we begin to work with what I call the 3 levels of self-talk mastery. These levels represent a progression from basic awareness to complete transformation of your internal dialogue. The first level is conscious interruption. This is where you learn to catch yourself in the middle of negative self-talk and consciously choose a different thought. But here's the key. You don't just replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Instead, you replace limiting thoughts with truthful ones. When you catch yourself saying, I can't handle this, pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, what's the deeper truth here? The truth might be this is challenging, and I'm growing stronger as I face it. I don't know how yet, but I'm willing to learn. These aren't affirmations. They're acknowledgments of a deeper truth. The second level is vibrational alignment. This is where you learn to match the frequency of your self-talk with the frequency of your desired experience. Everything in the universe operates at specific frequencies, including your thoughts and words. When your self-talk vibrates at the frequency of fear, lack, or limitation, you attract experiences that match that frequency. But when you align your self-talk with the frequency of your highest potential, something remarkable happens. You begin attracting experiences, opportunities, and resources that match this higher frequency. This isn't mystical thinking. It's quantum physics in action. Before you speak to yourself, pause and ask, what energy am I broadcasting with these words? If your self-talk feels heavy, constrictive, or draining, it's operating at a lower frequency. If it feels expansive, energizing, and liberating, it's operating at a higher frequency. The third level is what I call sacred self-dialogue. This is where your self-talk becomes a form of communion with your highest self. Instead of just talking to yourself, you're engaging in a sacred conversation with the part of you that is connected to infinite wisdom and unlimited potential. This level of self-talk isn't about achieving or becoming. It's about remembering who you really are. It's about speaking to yourself with the reverence you would use in addressing something deeply sacred, because that's exactly what you're doing. When you engage in sacred self-dialogue, your words become like keys unlocking doors to higher states of consciousness. Instead of saying, I need to work harder, you might say, I allow my natural gifts to flow freely through. Instead of, I hope this works out, you might say, I trust in the perfect unfolding of my highest good. I share something powerful with you. Your highest self already knows exactly what you need to hear in any given moment. When you learn to access this wisdom, your self-talk becomes a source of profound guidance and transformation. Here's a practice I want you to implement right now. So, before you engage in self-talk, take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, imagine you're settling deeper into your essential self, the part of you that exists beyond all limiting beliefs and conditioned patterns. From this place of deep connection, begin your self-dialogue. Notice how different it feels to speak to yourself from this centered, aligned state. Notice how the words that come from this place carry a different quality, a different power. As you move through these next hours, I want you to practice what I call the sacred pause. Whenever you're about to engage in self-talk, pause. Take those 3 breaths and ask yourself, what would my highest self say in this moment? This simple practice can transform your entire experience of life. Because when you speak from your highest self, you activate dormant potentials within you. You access wisdom that was always there, but perhaps buried under layers of limiting beliefs and habitual negative self-talk. Remember this profound truth. Every word you speak to yourself is either an expression of your highest self or an expression of your fears and limitations. There is no middle ground. Every internal dialogue is either lifting you higher or holding you where you are. As you practice these principles, you'll encounter what I call resistance points. Moments when your old patterns of self-talk feel more compelling than your new choices. These aren't obstacles, they're opportunities. They're showing you exactly where transformation needs to happen. When you hit these resistance points, don't fight them. Instead, bring more consciousness to them. Ask yourself, what belief is creating this resistance? What truth needs to be acknowledged here? Then speak to yourself from that deeper truth. Your self-talk has the power to literally reshape your neural pathways. When you consistently speak to yourself from your highest truth, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing the physical structure of your brain. You're creating new neural networks that support your expanded awareness. And this is why these 3 days are so powerful. You're not just learning new ways to talk to yourself, you're literally rewiring your brain for higher consciousness, greater possibilities, and expanded potential. As we move through this 3rd phase of transformation, I want you to start treating every moment of self-talk as a sacred opportunity, an opportunity to align with your highest truth, an opportunity to activate your dormant potential, an opportunity to step more fully into who you really are. Your assignment for these next hours is to practice all 3 levels of self-talk mastery. Engage in conscious interruption when you catch yourself in limiting patterns. Practice vibrational alignment by choosing words that match the frequency of your desired experience. And most importantly, engage in sacred self-dialogue by speaking to yourself. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about progression. Each time you choose higher self-talk, you're strengthening new neural pathways. Each time you speak to yourself from your highest truth, you're reinforcing your connection to your essential nature. As we close this third phase of our journey together, hold this truth in your heart. You are not just changing your words. You're changing your entire relationship with yourself. And when you change your relationship with yourself, as we move into this fourth phase of our journey together, we're going to explore something revolutionary. The art of creating what I call quantum shifts in your self-talk. So these are moments of profound transformation where your entire internal dialogue shifts to a higher level of consciousness instantly. You see, most people believe that changing their self-talk is a gradual process that takes months or years. But when you understand the principles we're about to explore, you can create instant transformations in how you speak to yourself and therefore in how you experience life. Let me share a profound truth with you. Your self-talk operates like a quantum field. Just as quantum particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, your potential exists in multiple states until you define the words you speak to yourself, literally collapse infinite possibilities into specific experiences. This is where we begin working with what I call the 4 quantum principles of transformative self-talk. These principles, when understood and applied, can create immediate shifts in your consciousness and your reality. First principle is instant reversal. This is the understanding that you can reverse years of negative self-talk patterns in an instant by making one fundamental shift. Speaking to yourself from the perspective of your highest truth rather than your current circumstances. Most people speak to themselves based on what they see in their current reality. They look at their bank account and say, I'm struggling financially. They look at their relationships and say, I'm unlucky in love. They look at their bodies and say, I'll never be healthy. But quantum self-talk operates differently. Instead of speaking from current circumstances, you speak from the perspective of your highest truth. You look at your bank account and say, I am the source of unlimited abundance. You look at your relationships and say, I am love expressing itself in human form. You look at your body and say, I am vibrant health in action. The second principle is energetic coherence. This is where you learn to align your self-talk not just with your desires, but with the energetic frequency of those desires. Every experience you want to create has a specific energetic. When your self-talk matches that signature, you become a magnetic force attracting those experiences. Here's how to practice energetic coherence before speaking to yourself. Tune into the energy of what you want to experience. If you want to experience more abundance, tune into the feeling of abundance. Let that feeling inform your self-talk. Speak words that carry the energy of abundance, not the energy of lack or want. The third principle is quantum entanglement. In quantum physics, particles that become entangled remain connected regardless of distance. Your self-talk works the same way. The words you speak to yourself become entangled with your future. This is why it's crucial to speak to yourself as if you're already experiencing what you desire. Instead of saying, I'm working on becoming more confident, say, I'm confidence expressing itself through this body. Instead of, I'm trying to be more successful, say, I am success in action. These aren't affirmations. They're declarations of truth from a quantum perspective. The fourth principle is superposition of states. Just as a quantum particle can exist in multiple states simultaneously, you exist in multiple states of potential until you collapse those possibilities through your self-talk. This means that right now in this moment, you exist in a state of both limitation and unlimited potential. Your self-talk determines which state becomes your experience. This understanding changes everything about how you speak to yourself. Instead of trying to change from one state to another, you simply choose which state to bring into manifestation through your words. You're not becoming something new. You're choosing which aspect of yourself to express. And to share something powerful with you. Every word you speak to yourself is either aligning you with your highest potential or keeping you entangled with limiting beliefs. There is no neutral self-talk. Every internal dialogue is elevating your frequency or lowering it. Here's a practice I want you to implement right now. Before engaging in self-talk, pause and ask yourself, which state of being am I choosing to bring into manifestation with these words? Are you choosing to manifest your highest potential, or are you choosing to manifest your limitations? As you move through these next hours, I want you to practice what I call quantum self-dialogue. This is where you consciously choose to speak to yourself from the perspective of your highest potential, regardless of current circumstances. When challenges arise, and don't speak to them from the level of the problem. Speak to them from the level of the solution that already exists in quantum potential. Instead of saying, this is too hard, say, I am accessing my infinite wisdom to move through this with ease. Remember this profound truth. Your self-talk is not just describing your reality, it's creating it. Every word you speak is like a quantum command to the universe, instructing it on which potential to bring into manifestation. This is why these 3 days are so transformative. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're literally reorganizing the quantum field of possibilities through your chosen self-talk. You're collapsing infinite potential into specific experiences through the power of your words. Your assignment for these next hours is to practice all 4 quantum principles. Engage in instant reversal by speaking from your highest truth. Practice energetic coherence by matching the frequency of your desired experience. Work with quantum entanglement by speaking as if your desires are already manifest. And understand superposition of states by consciously choosing which potential to bring into reality. As you practice these principles, you'll encounter what I call quantum resistance points, moments when your old patterns of self-talk seem more real than your new choices. These aren't obstacles. They're opportunities to collapse old probabilities and bring new possibilities into manifestation. When you hit these resistance points, don't fight them. Instead, use them as indicators of where quantum shifts are ready to happen. Ask yourself, what new possibility is trying to emerge here? What potential am I ready to bring into manifestation? Your self-talk has the power to literally organize the quantum field of possibilities around you. When you consistently speak to yourself from your highest truth, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing the very fabric of your reality. As we close this 4th phase of our journey together, hold this truth in your heart. You are not just changing your words. You're changing the quantum structure of your experience. You're learning to speak in alignment with the infinite potential that you already are. Remember, this isn't about forcing change. It's about allowing your natural state of unlimited potential to express itself through your chosen words. Each time you speak to yourself from your highest truth, you're bringing more of your quantum potential into manifestation. You're not creating something new. You're allowing what already exists in potential to become your lived experience. This is the true power of quantum self-talk, and it's available to you in every moment, starting right now. As we come to this final phase of our journey together, we're going to explore the art of integration, how to weave everything you've learned about transformative self-talk into the fabric of your daily life. Because transformation isn't just about having powerful experiences. It's about sustaining those changes and allowing them to reshape your entire life. Let me share something profound with you. The most powerful moments of transformation often come not in the learning, but in the living. It's in the daily practice, the moment-to-moment choices. That real change takes root and flourishes. We're going to work with what I call the 3 circles of integration. These represent the 3 levels at which your transformed self-talk must operate to create lasting change in your life. The first circle is personal integration. This is where your new patterns of self-talk become so natural, so automatic, that they're simply the way you communicate with yourself. So it's no longer about trying to change your self-talk. It's about speaking from your highest truth as your default mode of internal communication. Think about how you learn to walk. At first, it required intense concentration, Every step was a conscious choice. But eventually, walking became natural, automatic, effortless. The same process happens with transformative self-talk. What begins as conscious choice becomes natural expression. The second circle is environmental integration. This is where your transformed self-talk begins to influence not just your internal world, but your external environment. The way you speak to yourself shapes how you interact with others, how you approach challenges, how you show up in the world. When you consistently speak to yourself from your highest truth, you naturally begin creating environments that support that truth. Your relationships shift. Your work transforms. Your physical spaces reorganize themselves to reflect your elevated consciousness. The third circle is, universal integration. This is where your self-talk becomes aligned with universal principles of growth, expansion, and evolution. You're no longer just speaking to yourself, you're participating in the universal dialogue of creation itself. This level of integration is where true mastery lies. So it's where your self-talk becomes a conscious collaboration with the creative force of the universe. Every word you speak to yourself becomes a note in the universal symphony of creation. These three circles of integration aren't separate. They're interconnected aspects of the same process. As you integrate your new self-talk patterns at the personal level, you automatically begin creating changes in your environment. As your environment transforms, you naturally align more fully with universal principles. Let me share a practice I call the integration spiral. This is a daily practice that helps you weave your transformed self-talk into all three circles simultaneously. Begin each day by taking 3 conscious breaths. With the first breath, connect with your personal truth. With the second breath, expand your awareness to include your environment. With the third breath, open yourself to universe. From this expanded state of awareness, engage in what I call tri-level self-dialogue. Speak to yourself in ways that honor your personal truth, influence your environment positively, and align with universal principles. Instead of saying, I need to get through this day, you might say, I am the creative force of the universe expressing itself through my unique gifts today. Instead of, I hope things work out, you might say, I am aligned with the perfect unfolding of universal wisdom in all things. Remember this profound truth. Every word you speak to yourself is either integrating you more fully with your highest potential or keeping you separate from it. There is no neutral self-talk. Every internal dialogue is either expanding your consciousness or maintaining current limitations. As you move through these final hours of our 3-day journey, I want you to focus on what I call sustainable integration. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making your transformed self-talk so natural, so authentic, that it becomes your default way of communicating with yourself. When challenges arise, and they will use them as opportunities for deeper integration, don't try to avoid difficulties. Use them as chances to practice speaking to yourself from your highest truth under real-world conditions. There's a powerful truth. So the way you speak to yourself in challenging moments is far more important than how you speak to yourself when everything is going well. It's in the difficult moments that your new patterns of self-talk either take root or give way to old habits. Your assignment for these final hours is to practice integrating your transformed self-talk into all 3 circles. Engage in personal integration by making your new patterns automatic. Practice environmental integration by allowing your elevated self-talk to influence your interactions and surroundings. And work with universal integration by aligning your words with higher principles. As you practice this integration, you'll encounter what I call integration points. Moments when your new patterns of self-talk have the opportunity to replace old habits completely. These aren't just changes in words, they're shifts in consciousness that create permanent transformation. When you hit these integration points, don't rush through them. Allow yourself to fully experience the shift. Feel the difference between your old patterns and your new choices. Let that feeling anchor the change in your nervous system. Your self-talk has the power to not just change your life, but to transform the very way you experience reality. When you consistently speak to yourself from your highest truth, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your entire relationship with existence itself. As we close our journey together, our journey, hold this truth in your heart. The transformation you've experienced this past 3 days is just the beginning. You've learned the principles, practiced the techniques, and now it's time to live these truths. Remember, you're not just changing words. You're changing consciousness. You're not just adopting new patterns. You're embracing your true nature. You're not just learning techniques. You're remembering who you really are. The power to transform your life has always been within you, waiting to be activated by the right words, spoken with the right understanding at the right time. That time is now. That understanding is here. Those words are yours to choose. Let's go forth from this place knowing that you carry within you everything you need to continue this journey of transformation. Your words are your power. Your self-talk is your magic. Your consciousness is your key to unlimited potential. And remember this above all else. Every word you speak to yourself is either an expression of truth or a deviation from it. Choose truth, choose power, choose transformation. The time is now and you are ready. Thank you for sharing this journey of transformation. May your words always reflect your highest truth. May your self-talk always align with your unlimited potential. And may your life be a testament to the power of conscious self. The journey continues and the best is yet to come.